Everybody ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Ahsoka!
4 Midwest Guys presents Star Wars Rebels HQ.
Battles leave scars. Some you can't see.
Holocron. I'm afraid it's changing him.
I will never let my friends get hurt again.
Your anger gives you strength.
Governor Price, these rebels have proven particularly stubborn. How do you intend to solve this problem?
I need someone who sees a bigger picture.
To defeat an enemy, you must know them, not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art.
I must become more powerful.
Split the treasure.
Oh, that's a classic.
One last glorious day in the Grand Army of the Republic.
Jedi and Sith, the light and the dark.
They'll be the architects of their own destruction.
The key to destroying the Sith.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Star Wars Rebels HQ. Today, we'll go over the Season 4 trailer. With me to do that today is Mr. Brian Eckenbauer.
Hey, what's up, what's up?
What's going on, B? And my brother, Aaron.
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right, guys, so Star Wars Celebration, they had the big panel. Right off the bat, the big gorilla in the room is Season 4 is the final season of Rebels.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I mean, we knew it was coming, but no, everybody was hoping there'd be 2 more seasons.
I mean,
yeah,
it was. I mean, last season was what, 2 years away from
Rogue One.
Yeah. So I mean, it only could go so far.
We were hoping it was week 2, especially when we got in Rogue One, we could hear Syndulla and everything else. So the rebel
General Syndulla.
Yeah, all the rebel insinuations and Easter eggs that were in Rogue One. So.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean they can't bring the characters back to another series down the line if they wanted to. It just might not be Rebels, or could be a spin-off sort of thing.
True. I mean, it may not be the last time we see them, but it'll be the last time they'll be in Rebels.
Yeah. It's I expected 5 seasons because they said when they started this is 5 years before New Hope, so I was thinking, okay,
like
5
a season a year.
Yeah, a season, it represents a year.
I don't know. We had a bit of a time gap at the beginning of the last season, though. So
a little bit, yeah.
I mean, it was only like 6 months, but something.
Yeah, I still expected 5, and I was really hoping for 5. But I will say one thing: at least we'll get an official close, unlike Clone Wars, which was unceremoniously.
It ended.
At least, hopefully, we'll get a proper close. We also have heard through news reports, possible rumor that that Season 4 will also be one continuous story arc. There will be no side adventures per se. That it's all going to be all one giant story to end it all on, essentially.
Yeah. Although I really find it hard to think that Filoni would change his MO on his last season.
A lot of that then started with Lucas back in Clone Wars to a certain extent. So,
well, I think what's my guess is what happens. He says there'll be one story arc that kind of throws the whole thing. My guess is that we may have 1 or 2 side adventures, but they'll still play into the overall arc. Like we'll still have that arc inside that episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had that with Season 2 of Rebels as well, even though there were a couple side episodes, but that was kind of how the team making it viewed as this was all part of the continuous story sort of thing.
And the other news is it's been breaking, I think even just a few days ago, is it's been announced that it's only going to be 16 episodes. Or at least that's the rumor, 16, where the last 2 seasons we've had 22 episodes. So Season 1 had 16 episodes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, with the last season or so, we've had it where you kind of have a transition shift around mid-season. So if you're just continuing like the same story arc for the full season, that's not necessarily a horrible thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just I really love this show, and it's going to be hard to say goodbye. And 16 episodes will go by very quickly.
Well, they announced some sort of like micro series, didn't they?
Yeah, the micro series is like it's like a heroines series kind of thing.
So like
it's like one-off
sort of thing.
It's kind of like one-off adventures with.
Oh, okay.
You'll
so
get
it's
like,
not really serial.
Yeah, it's like here's an episode with Leia centered at it. Here's an episode with
It's just
Rey.
like episodic sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Fair
It's
enough.
Using all the female leads.
Oh, speaking of females, Did you see Filoni's T-shirt on the panel?
Ahsoka lives.
Ahsoka lives ? And then the lights went out, and then he came back on. And he had Ahsoka lives with an exclamation point.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. And so everybody's saying that Ahsoka's going to come back in this, and then whatchamacallit is going to the girl from Marvel. What is her name? She plays the nurse.
Oh, Dawson.
Dawson. Rosario Dawson.
Mm-hmm. She would do a live version of her.
Live version of her.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor too.
Yeah, I mean that'd be kind of cool.
Rosario Dawson.
Who is that? Is she actually the one that voices her?
No.
Okay.
That's Ashley Eckstein. That does the voice.
I was about to say, I wouldn't guess Rosario Dawson would be involved in that.
Like somebody did a mock-up of what she would look like, and it's pretty close.
It's close. It's the only thing I have with Rosario is she's almost too old to play the character. Almost. It
depends
close.
on like what you want to do with the character.
Yeah, it depends on what time frame you want to place her in, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I was excited when they did that. She is apparently all on board, or at least her publicist is, because she put on stuff like Ahsoka lives, #Ahsoka lives, and all that stuff. So.
I think she is wanting to do it. I don't know if they want to do it.
Yeah, so we'll see. All right, guys, so let's just break down the trailer as best we can. As we kind of gathered together some frames on our own, we're going to use some frames some other people broke down on other websites. I'll try to describe each frame, and we'll just kind of talk about it. I know the whole first maybe 10, 15 seconds of the trailer, it's all about Hera talking about...
It's longer than that.
Okay, maybe 20 seconds.
I mean, it's got to be...
I wouldn't even say it's 30 seconds long. No,
maybe 30 seconds tops.
But
it's the first quarter of the trailer, I would say.
Yeah, and it's all about Hera talking about leading them into battle. And we see these old scenes brought back. The first one is a picture of Ezra, back probably from the beginning of season 1.
It kind of focuses early on about like where they came from, sort of thing.
Yeah, I would say he's more on season 2.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Look at how he looks fairly close to what he looks like. You know what I mean? Like in the first one, he looked really young. This is not...
You don't think so? I actually think this might be him from season 1, like hanging out on his tower.
That is what it is. I mean, he is on his tower.
Yeah.
On Lothal.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Next Ezra shot, obviously, is from last season, where him holding the Sith holocron. So I wonder if this means we're going to finally get Ezra tempted by the dark side again.
Probably not.
Point.
I don't think so. I think
to be honest, I think it is just kind of a general recap.
Yep,
sort of
and that's what I think. I think the whole thing is just a recap, just basically because he was like, about a boy finding his way, and about a girl who blah 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 blah.
Right.
And she kind of goes through all the different characters and their journey to this point.
Yeah.
And it feels like season 4 is going to be it's just going to be all Rebels and not Jedi.
Yeah.
We kind of...
I mean, there's going to be probably elements of it, but yeah, it's probably going to focus much more heavily on that.
Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, though, if we're going to get some sort of a dark side presence. I mean, Maul's gone.
Mm-hmm.
You still got Vader lingering out there, but I don't think they're going to use him as much.
It doesn't seem like it.
So I think we'll see, in this one, I think we'll see Tarkin.
Oh yeah, Tarkin will be back.
I think we'll see
Thrawn.
We'll see a Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll also see whatchamacallit from Rogue One. The guy in white.
Oh, Director Krennic.
Yep.
That's possible.
I think we'll see him. I think we'll see more ties in this one into Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll obviously see Death Troopers.
Yeah.
We might actually maybe get to see Scarif, is that right?
Scarif is the planet where they got the transmissions from and stuff. Yes, that's where.
Okay, so I think maybe we'll see.
Star plans are.
We might actually get to see a little bit of Scarif.
Possibly.
I'm hoping that. My hope is that we get to see part of the battle.
Oh, the last. Filoni's already shot that down, but
you know what I mean.
He could be lying. I mean,
but that would be kind of cool, right? That
yeah.
Because they're talking about General Syndulla and everything else. And we actually get to see
an animated version.
An animated version of that fight from the Ghost.
Yeah. I would love to see that. Filoni's already said no, but Filoni has a way of dodging questions on stuff like that. But yeah. So again, we just kind of the first part again is mostly we see Zeb and he's the warrior. She says it's just an older flashback of season 1. And then the most interesting part of her whole speech I thought was the war veteran, and they show Chopper. Never really made that association. I mean, they mention it that he's from the Clone Wars and that he's mourning the down pilot and all that.
Well, Hera found him in the down ship that was shot down from that, so it does make reference to it. You could have just as easily used a character like Rex in that place as well.
Yeah, I think Rex would have been a much better choice. I mean, I like Chopper, but Chopper's kind of he's the comic relief. He's the side character. Yeah, he does save the day
quite often,
actually. As kind of the unknown hero, but I don't know if I would go as far as
call him a war veteran.
A war veteran.
Well, I mean, he's a robot, but he's been through wars and thus would count as a veteran.
I guess. Just in my mind, I just never made the association, I guess.
Right.
So that was the only part of the trailer I was kind of like, what? And then obviously she also talks about a fallen knight, and that being obviously Kanan turning away from the Jedi Order, only to find his way back through this whole series. We've seen him basically through training Ezra, learning how to be a Jedi all over again, and basically being crowned, knighted a Jedi, losing his vision, and learning now to be like the blind Jedi Master, which is kind of cool. And then there's a couple shots of the battle in Adelon.
So with the whole recap sort of element to it, does it add a bit of a death flag sort of thing for the first trailer?
It definitely adds.
I mean, especially because that's always kind of been a question of where these characters go by the time it hits A New Hope, even Rogue One, I guess.
Yeah, to me, it definitely adds that that threat, right? You get that. She's telling the story, I'm the lone survivor, which we know she already survives through Rogue One, and here's our story, this is what happened.
You're almost like, who's she telling the story to?
Yeah,
and how many of these guys survive?
Yeah,
because we know obviously she does. She's telling the story, but like you said, who survives?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is the thing? Do they get picked off 1-to-1? Is it all go down together sort of thing, or is it just kind of a fake out?
Well, I mean, who knows? But they do. I mean, in this, they do say, at least we'll go down fighting. There's a couple scenes, like that. So it's
there's a line in there. Kanan says to Ezra, "This is the reason we became Jedi. Is for this moment and blah 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 to be here at this time and fate, destiny." Again, kind of a
last hurrah sort of speech sort of thing.
Kind of like defending the Alamo kind of feel. The other line in her things is an evil so dark that it threatened to blacken out the stars.
Yeah.
And they show Thrawn. So obviously Thrawn's coming back.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Are we going to get more of the same, or are we going to see a much more militant go after him constantly, Thrawn, rather than play with them and toy with them?
I'm not against the toying with them version of Thrawn, as long as it's a character utilized well.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the last episode, you see Thrawn utilized well.
It pays off finally.
Yeah, but pretty much up to that, every scene was just, oh, well, that's interesting, and that was his entire character for most of the season.
Well, I think we've seen enough. I think he's done playing.
Yeah.
I think he's already done enough, and this was one of his plays to get them in the last episode.
Yeah,
that was one of his plays, and they got away, and so now it's just gonna be like a
chase.
Yeah,
they're gonna be on the run.
Now I don't know how Thrawn dies,
or if he dies.
Oh, I know he dies.
You think so?
Oh yeah. He'll die in this because we hear nothing about him in Rogue One or.
He's a pretty popular character.
I didn't see what they did with the book of that, but the new Thrawn book they released not that long ago is technically canon now. So
yeah, I really got to read that book. But yeah,
unless he gets
sent off somewhere.
Well, that was my other thing. Maybe he gets a either dismissed from the Empire because they
disgraced.
Something like that, and he goes off on his own, or they say, we need you to take the Empire in this direction, and he takes his own kind of...
Here's my 2 cents. And there's been a lot made in the books recently about Jakku and about the Emperor sending explorations into unknown space. Sensing some sort of dark...
Wasn't that more in the old EU?
There is some reference, but in the new books, they've been starting to mention a lot about Jakku being like this staging base, and about Palpatine sending out these missions because he senses something greater or darker out there. And I'm thinking maybe Thrawn gets sent on one of these missions. I mean, that would explain why we don't see him.
Yeah, I mean, and that could also be how Disney's decided to expand the universe.
Oh yeah, I think it's coming. I think we might even see some of it in as early as episode 8. We'll see, or they might be saving it for later.
I really don't like the fact that they've the rumor is they decided to go away from Jedi and Sith.
Yeah, I agree with that, and yeah, I think that's probably a conversation for another time. But I will throw my 2 cents and say I am not a lover of Grey Jedi.
Correct.
The Grey Jedi theory, but that's me.
And I think if it's not in there, then it feels a lot more like Star Trek.
I think
when you're just exploring and you're finding stuff,
especially if you're having this giant alien race coming from outside the known universe trying to take over.
If you've got to keep the Force element. I think if anything, it's episode 8 will be incredibly, not to go off on a side tangent, but it'll be incredibly heavy on the Force mythology. As long as they expand the Force mythology, I'm fine with it. Just don't end the Jedi and don't end the Sith. That's my thing.
Well, they already ended the Sith, kind of.
Well, kind of. I just don't want to see I don't want to get it so watered down, he's semi-dark gray and he's lighter gray. If you want to have a character ride the fence, that's fine. I don't want to see an entire order dedicated to the gray. I don't want to see...
I'm actually fine having that.
Today I'm dark gray, tomorrow I might be light gray. I don't know.
No, but I mean, if you
they just changed the picture on the fridge from a happy face to a frowny face.
Frowny face. Today's a sad day.
No, but if you want to have an order that's trying to be about balance and harmony between the two and trying to being able to use some abilities on each side, but not necessarily the more extreme powers or something like that. I think that'd be okay.
My only pushback with that would be the Bendu. The Bendu was basically the gray. And don't get me wrong, he was cool and he was...
Oh, I thought Bendu was cool.
Powerful, but he didn't really do much. I mean, I don't know. It's Star Wars. I like to see a lot of action. I like to see a lot of conflict. I don't know if you can do that with gray.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think there's fine to have characters that you can take grays and make them more roguish.
Sure.
You can have more of a pirates sort of person. I can't think of the one dude's name, but we do have those characters in the Star Wars universe, and that's fine if they actually go out into that sort of storylines, I think.
Yeah. The only thing I wouldn't mind them doing, and we're really going on a tangent, and I apologize to people, but if they want to take the Force powers themselves and not categorize them as dark or light, I might be okay with it. It's I've never understood why
Force lightning is dark.
And I've never understood why it's the ability, with Darth Plagueis, to create life is a dark side power. How is that a dark side power? To me, that's light side power.
Well, there's a lot of mythological elements that would have tampering with the natural orders of life and death and sort of a dark side power.
I kind of get it as a necromancy kind of thing. I get that, but I don't know. To say that that's solely, though, that the dark can solely do that by themselves.
No, so you're more of a gray.
Well, no, but...
it's kind of like how the Jedi have the thing where they technically can make themselves immortal. Just not in physical form.
Well, yeah, that's the ability to, only a few are granted that ability, supposedly, for now.
Yeah.
Until they make everybody a Force Ghost. But, so we've kind of gone off on a tangent.
I feel like
kind of a podcast for another day. But
I think if you make everyone a Force Ghost, you're going to have some issues, because then you need, a place for them all to hang out, and there has to be, a Force afterlife sort of thing.
Well, there kind of is, but it's not really... well, then never mind.
It needs to be expanded upon, is what you're saying.
We'll do a whole podcast on the wills of the Force, and all that fun stuff. So
I'm the one with the Force with me.
Yeah, I'm one with the Force is with me. Yeah.
You think we'll see that character at all?
I would love to see him come back.
Because those two, what were they? The Guardians of the One
Guardians
Temple?
of the Wills, yeah.
Those were amazing characters. I'd love to see back. If you're going to bring back Saw Gerrera here, I kind of want to see those characters as well.
Sure. I would like to see them in their heyday before the Empire shows up.
Yeah, like, it sounds fascinating, and it really is kind of expanding on mythology as well.
Well, yeah, the Wills is very... it's very vague. It's not very well defined. It's just kind of mentioned here and there in kind of really George Lucas's notes.
Yeah.
You know, from the original, when he originally started with the Star Wars thing, because originally it was kind of like George was trying to tell a story, like only he was given, like, he opened up like a book or had a vision of all this. This happened here, you know. It was through the wills of the Force and all this stuff. So it's very, very vague. So it's never really been well defined. And we might get more of it in Episode 8, honestly, but I don't know. But anyway. So the first part of the trailer, it's really just old clips from Season 3, Season 1, Season 2 kind of mixed together. And we see a lot of the next few clips is about the Battle of Atollon that we see in the Season 3 finale. And see all of that. And then from there, we switch over to new footage. And from this point on, it's kind of like the first real footage we see, new clip we see Ezra, what looks to me to be Sabine's mother, only because of the yellow on her hat, and the pattern looks similar to Sabine's mom.
Okay.
To Ursa. So I think that's her. And then it's funny. I've heard Dave.
I actually would have said it was Sabine.
Okay, it could be. It's possible. To me, because I see yellow, it could be her new pattern though, because she changes her color. So yeah, it could be Sabine. You're right. To me, it looks like her mom, but it could be Sabine. But I think the funny part is the wolf.
Because there's a giant wolf.
There's a giant wolf, and there is a celebration panel of last year where Dave talks about putting Ahsoka in the last few episodes with Ahsoka. Ahsoka's riding a giant wolf, and it's a callback to him because Dave has this whole Star Wars group called the Wolf Pack. It's kind of his, so it's like an homage to himself almost. So it's kind of funny that we see that what he was talking about show up in Rebels the next, season 4, because he was talking about a year ago at the last Star Wars celebration.
Okay.
So here we are. So yeah.
So you're thinking this is going to be part of the last couple episodes with Sabine?
It could be. It could be part of or it could definitely be one of the episodes that involves Ahsoka, maybe, because that was supposed to be Ahsoka on the giant wolf. Because they were talking about the last few episodes in the Clone Wars series that they had planned out, and one of the episodes he had her on a giant wolf. So
very much kind of throwback to like Princess Mononoke or something like that.
Probably, yeah. You would probably know a little bit more. That's Kurosawa, right?
Well, no, that's Miyazaki. That's Studio Ghibli film.
Okay.
It was pretty well known. It actually even had like a pretty well known dub in the U.S. It's a good film.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. That's the reason I was asking if it was like a Kurosawa. I've only seen a couple of those. So next scene is we're told we're going to Yavin 4, and it's a picture of the Ghost arriving on Yavin 4. You can see the jungle. You can see the pyramids of the temple, and then obviously the big Yavin itself in the foreground. So we're heading back to Yavin 4. What do you guys think about going back to Yavin 4 in Rebels finally?
Well, I mean, we knew it's going to happen, and in order to pull everything together, it had to happen. So I'm not really surprised to see it.
Yeah,
I mean, because essentially, if this is going to end right before Rogue One, and Rogue One ends like a pretty
10
much
minutes before Star Wars Episode 4,
then like you kind of have to kind of merge those two together. Like this is going to be a critical season for like how the canon actually plays out and like how it all connects, right?
Yeah, I think so. It almost has to. If that's Dave's plan is to have Rebels end right before Rogue One, then and then just continue the storyline from that point on. If that's his plan, we don't.
Don't get me wrong. Like you can still kind of give it like maybe a 6-month gap between like the end of Rebels into Rogue One, but you're hitting pretty close because pretty much this is like a year out from Rebels or from Rogue One.
We're guessing.
Yeah.
The last time I was told it was 2 years out. So where we pick up,
but that was for last season, and
right?
Where this season ends off is I imagine pretty close.
But they said they were going right to Yavin 4, so we'll see if they've been on Yavin 4 for maybe 6 months when we pick up, or do they go right.
Well, yeah, I mean, we also have to
off.
wonder, is there any time skip between last season and the current season as well?
Yeah, between 3 and 4, we don't know. We won't know until 4 starts, obviously.
How long is her monologue?
But yeah, I'm excited to get back to Yavin 4. The more I see Yavin 4, the better I like it. I love seeing it back in Rogue One and seeing a little bit more of it. So I would like to see what's inside some of those temples, to be honest, more than just the Rebel base, because there's more. There seems to be a lot out there on this planet, so to explore. So it'd be kind of cool to see if maybe there's a Jedi or Sith influence on the planet that Ezra and Kanan maybe stumble upon or something. That'd be kind
definitely
of cool
a possibility.
Yeah. Next shot we see is basically Hera and embracing Kanan. Where do you guys think this is going? Do you think we see any kind of love interest blooming here? Do we see it finally?
Wait, there hasn't been?
Well, I think there already has
implied.
Been.
Like, it's implied pretty heavily that they were romantic even by the first episode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like especially like when Kanan meets her dad and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, so like we already basically know they're together, but I actually think that we might actually see them go separate ways because they need to.
Mm-hmm.
And then we might see Kanan die, and that's what pushes Hera to the next level. You know what I mean? Like as in like a vengeance type.
Ooh, that could be. That'd be interesting to see Hera on a vengeance role, because she's up to this point. It's always been about the mission. The rebel cause. So.
Well, with a few exceptions here and there, but
yeah,
there's the one thing where she just borderline kills Chopper to kill other people.
Well, yeah, there's that. There's you want to mess with my droid? Here, I'm going to zap you.
And somehow blows up an entire ship.
That was pretty impressive.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on here. Maybe not. Maybe we won't move on. I thought I had it. There we go. So, obviously, this season's going to be heavy on the Mando again. Mm-hmm. Looks like this scene is maybe Sabine leading her clan into battle.
It's funny, Ezra actually has a...
And Ezra's with her, but...
Yeah.
He has a motocross helmet on.
Yeah, as well as a jetpack.
Yeah.
Well, it's
and a blaster.
Yeah, he's got a Mando jetpack finally. So he somehow got that. And
he apparently was not happy with the little thrusters his last retro suit had.
And he's wearing a speeder helmet. So he's got... they didn't give him a Mando helmet, but he's got a...
well, I'm sure it's one of his helmets that he already had.
Right, it's a speeder bike helmet, a stormtrooper speeder bike helmet that's been painted by Sabine, I'm sure.
Yellow and orange.
Right, and it's got his symbol on the side. Because in season, except for last season, he wore a jacket that had like that circle with maybe, it kind of looks like a bird, maybe like a phoenix or something.
Yeah, like
on
a half bird.
Yeah, on it. So it's on the side of his helmet, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, we see Sabine, she's leading her clan into battle, and she's holding the Darksaber up high, charging in. So
yeah,
obviously trying to lead her clan and maybe trying to unite her people.
Do you think it's going to have a good element of the Mando Civil War element here?
Yeah, I do. I was kind of hoping for a spin-off series. We've had that conversation, but obviously it looks like they're going to put that in season 4.
Yeah, when we were hoping, because we knew that Filoni was going to announce a new series.
Yeah.
We were kind of hoping that it was going to be the Mando series. And you're trying to be that stupid heroine online-only crap.
Well, that
he announced.
Yeah, I still don't think this is the big thing.
Do you not like the online-only shows?
Well, no, I mean, it just seemed like if you look at it, it's not even as crisp as this. It's more of a...
it's closer to what the older Clone Wars thing is in terms of animation style, right?
It's closer to the micro series, yeah.
I was going to say, it seems more like a drawing.
It's like the Tartakovsky Clone Wars thing.
Yeah, it is. It's like the original Clone Wars micro series, and it's... in fact, they're not even putting it on any channel. They're just going to be short clips that they put on the Disney YouTube channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Disney
I thought they were
YouTube.
going to be at least 10, 15-minute things.
No, probably not even that. I'd say 5 minutes, maybe.
Oh, okay.
It might be 10, 15, but they're just... I think what they're trying to do is it's part of Disney's push for the Disney heroine thing, and they're just... It's another
Well, Disney has been profiting off heroines for a long time.
They have. And,
so
but
I can understand their desire for it.
Up until recently, Star Wars, other than Princess Leia, maybe Padme.
Yeah.
That's about it. As far as heroin. So yeah, that's basically what they're doing there. So, and again, sorry for the tangent there, folks. Moving on. This is interesting. We actually see some tanks from the last time we saw these tanks was in Rogue One on Jeddah.
Yep.
It looks like, I don't know if it's Hera. I don't think it's Hera, but it looks like another Twi'lek. It could be Hera without her stuff on. I don't know. But we see some stormtroopers and we see some of those tanks going on. It looks like there's a moisture evaporator there off to the side. So it's kind of probably more arid desert planet. Maybe not. Maybe some sort of buildings in the distance.
Or rock formation.
Rock formation, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It actually almost, to me, it almost looks like Lothal with the rock formation that they go to there at the where they kept their little base at.
It's possible. It could also be the Twi'lek homeworld. Ryloth, I think, is the name of it.
Well, you know what this could be. I mean, this could be Thrawn attacking her home planet,
trying to
draw her out. Mm-hmm. So who knows?
And it could be Hera just in her natural, attire instead of being in her Rebels gear if she went home or something.
Yeah, could be.
So it's possible. Let's move on here. Okay, next scene. Saul Guerrero.
Older,
aged very considerably for what is like a year.
So this could be an answer to your question, Aaron. Maybe how much time has passed. Maybe more than a year has passed. And also,
he looks at least 10 years older from the last time we saw him, doesn't he?
Almost, but the other thing to point out, I think, from the last time we saw him, he had no hair, and he also had no beard.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
So it's possible that he was just older, and we just never saw the...
Just didn't show in the details.
Right. So that's one thing to point out. But obviously we're going to see Saul Guerrero. We know there from Rogue One there's a lot that happens with Saul Guerrero, enough for Mon Mothma to say, yeah, you're too militant for the Rebels. You need to go.
Yeah.
So we need to see how that happens. We also need to see how Saul goes from being a walking human being into basically a rebel cheap version of Darth Vader.
Well, what's funny is I wonder if we don't get the time jump mid-season.
That could happen. That's possible.
You know what I mean? Like we don't see here's what we do, and kind of the rebels kind of go to their home planet, or Hera goes back or whatever, and then we see a time jump, and they come back because they're forced by the Empire or whatever to.
It's possible, and I wonder if we'll even get a mid-season, because with 16 episodes, mid-season would be 8 compared to 11. So I don't know.
I feel like you still could. It just depends on how you want to have it set up. We might not have the same formula we had with the last 2 seasons, where you have that really big mid-season thing.
Mm-hmm.
Could just be a bit of a to be continued for 2 weeks sort of thing.
It could be. I would prefer smaller gaps. I don't like taking a month off they did last season. So a lot to explore with Saul Guerrero, obviously, and I would like to see it because I really want to see the character fleshed out. I don't like what I saw at the beginning, and I don't necessarily like what I saw at the end. But maybe if they fill in the gaps in between,
I haven't liked the character yet.
We'll see. Hopefully, I want to like him. So, or at least despise him, or
I didn't like him in Rogue One.
I didn't like him either in Rogue One, but we saw so little of him in Rogue One.
It's funny because it's one of those things you see the trailer, how much he's in it, and then how much of that did not
show up. And so, we get to see him at the very end. We get to see him at kind of the beginning last year. So I want to see what this guy is made of and why he is the way he is. So hopefully they'll answer that. Next scene is much of Mando's again flying towards a city or a bubble. It almost reminds me of the old Clone Wars, not the Republic, Clone Wars, the green guys, the Trade Federation ships. Remember how they had the balls that would go down into the holes in Episode 2, especially? They were part of the command ships. No. It was just the ball part.
Nope.
And they sunk down into the hole. That's, if you rewatch Episode 2, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of what the dome thing looks like to me. But you see, again, looks like Chopper's flying with the Mandos, and they're heading towards whatever this dome thing is. What do you guys think the dome thing is, then? If you guys have any guesses?
It could also be a ship or just like
a
part of a compound or a fort or something.
Okay.
It might not be far off from what you had, like in terms of like buildings or cities in Cloud City or whatever.
Okay. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it has the look of the Legion of Doom kind of dome. I mean, especially the way it's like
to it.
Yeah, it's like lighted at the bottom but dark at top, so it doesn't appear that the whole thing is inhabited. So it doesn't it looks like there's many levels.
Okay.
So it might be maybe a hangar.
Could be. It's possible. I do kind of like your Legion of Doom. I didn't quite make that. I made that comparison yet, but yeah, it does kind of look like the old Legion of Doom from Super Friends.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of look to it. All right, let's move on. Next shot. So, next shot is a Clone Wars return of our Bo-Katan from the Clone Wars, who is the sister of Satine, who was Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest. For those of you who are Clone Wars fans. So, to me, this is interesting that she's come back at this point in time. She was the leader of Death Watch. She looks to still be part of Death Watch. The color scheme is the same as far as the armor is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's because, like we said, by the Mando Civil War. So
I can see that being a character that plays into that pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if she's going to be friend or foe, though. At least in the beginning.
In the beginning, I imagine.
Well, based on her eyebrows, she does not seem angry.
No, she does not. She seems pretty... For her, she seems docile.
Yes.
So she's aged a little bit since the Clone Wars, but she should. But pretty much same attire, really. She hasn't changed a whole lot. Her hairstyle's the same. So it's very interesting to see her back. I want to see what role she plays. I would really love it if she turns out to be Sabine's mom again, but that's just my fan theory.
Honestly, it wouldn't be that big a thing if that's more of a cameo appearance either, though. Like, it really could just be a character that shows up for maybe one episode or two.
I really hope she plays a more pivotal role. I really kind of like the character. I like the idea. I think Filoni liked her too, but you never know.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next character is a new character. This is, I think you pronounce Rook. Rook is actually a throwback to the EU, back in the Heir to the Empire. The first 3 books that came out after Return of the Jedi and the now non-canon EU. Rook played in that role. Rook was a kind of a bodyguard for Thrawn. So,
okay. So do you think they're reintroducing him with Thrawn to be more of a Thrawn's muscle or bounty hunter sort of thing?
Maybe his number 2.
Yeah.
So
so his Inquisitor?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, because you kind of cheapen Thrawn if the Rebels keep getting away from Thrawn.
Does anyone find it weird we still have never seen the Inquisitors come back, even though there probably should have been at least a couple lying around?
He might be saving them for the season, or they might have something else in mind for him. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I agree with you. I always thought, especially in the beginning of season 3, I was like, oh, we'll see.
Especially with how they had the naming system of it set up.
Yeah.
Like, you had, 2, 4, and 8?
Well, plus, I also thought the guy...
5th brother, 7th sister.
Yeah, and then the 8th brother, or whatever he was. But the guy who... I thought he survived. I mean, he just fell. So I thought, sure enough, we'd see him in the beginning of season 3, but apparently not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Inquisitors.
Fair enough.
But yeah, getting back to Rook here, to me, I think he's going to become Thrawn's right-hand man, and I think...
You don't think they're going to kill him off early on in it?
No, I don't. I think Thrawn will be there all through the season.
Oh, no, I meant him specifically.
Probably not. I think he's going to be the one that the Rebels get away from more.
Okay.
Because if you let the Rebels get away from Thrawn too much, it cheapens Thrawn.
Yeah.
So if he gets away from this guy, because Constantine's dead, Admiral Constantine's dead, you only have Governor Price, who I don't know what they're going to do with next year. So there's only so many...
Okay. You can't have Thrawn being the dude that keeps letting them all slip
keeps
away.
Shaking his fist at the sky. And darn you, Rebels, next time.
You and your little dog, too.
Yes. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. So.
Okay.
And he's also, by the way, he is voiced by Warwick Davis, who played Wicket back in Return of the Jedi.
Didn't he also play the Leprechaun in the Leprechaun films?
That I'd have to look up. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that one up.
Did he play Willow and Willow?
He did play Willow and Willow, yes.
That was in the past, true.
Yeah. It's alright.
So next scene we get a... So this might answer our question about that Twi'lek earlier. It looks like there's a Twi'lek, green skin, and some other alien next to her.
That's Zeb.
Is that Zeb? Yeah, it is
Zeb.
Zeb.
In a helmet.
Zeb in a weird helmet.
Yeah,
no, I don't think so.
Actually, it is Zeb, yeah, because look, if you look at the eyes...
No.
Yeah.
It could be another one of his race, but
it's his gun.
But it's definitely, it looks like his gun, yeah. It's wrapped up.
Yeah, it looks like Aaron Zeb.
It almost looks like he's got like a Mando antenna
on
the side.
It is. It is Zeb, but he's got a weird face mask.
Yeah, it's
like it makes it look like he's got a funny looking face, but yeah, you're right. The eyes, the nose, and the mouth are all up into that helmet.
Yeah. And he's like I said, he's got like Mando, like the Mando listening device or the thing that would come down over their eyes so they could see further.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Zeb with some body armor, and he almost looks like a bounty hunter, like a different kind of bounty hunter to me.
Yeah.
That's what this shot. So I don't know. That could be Hera still, I guess, next to him.
Yeah.
She looks a little different though. I don't know.
Well, you're also kind
It's a little
of freezing
blurry.
it within motion, so
Yeah, it's a little blurry. Hard to tell. But that does look like her blaster that she would use too. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting though. That Zeb and like a
and the armor. Outfit,
yeah.
It almost looks like it could be a joke sort of thing, but probably not. It just is a weird design choice.
It's kind of an interesting. Like I said, it almost makes him look like a bounty hunter, almost.
Yeah.
With I don't know. To me, it's like a throwback to
Well,
maybe
it's weird that
Empire when they had all those.
It's
different...
this weird elongated helmet, but it doesn't actually have like a face covering thing.
Right.
It looks like it has like a front for a face, so maybe it has a screen that comes down or something that we just don't see.
You know what it almost looks like to me? It looks like an old leather football helmet from the 1930s or something.
Like really elongated?
Yeah, like a really tall version.
But it's made for like a cone head.
Yes. Yeah, that's what makes it weird. But yeah, to me it's almost a throwback to, like I said, back to Empire Strikes Back when he had all those different bounty hunters. You had Bosk and obviously Boba Fett was there, but, I don't know. Kind of cool.
So you think we'll see any extra bounty hunters throughout the season?
It'd be sweet.
Really, we haven't seen the Empire rely on bounty hunters too heavily.
Not too heavily.
Rebels.
And there's one bounty hunter I'd like to see make a return from Clone Wars is Cad Bane. He's pretty badass. All right, so let's move on to the next scene in the trailer, which is the scene of the. It looks like maybe an A-wing, 2-engine A-wing attacking what might be looks kind of like Starkiller Base, maybe.
It's some kind of space base.
Yeah,
some kind of space base. I mean, it's spherical, so we kind of get that. Death. Maybe it's a pre-Death Star.
Yeah, or at the very least, it's some sort of manufacturing thing. Maybe it could go either way.
Yeah, it's very possible. Again, like I said, to me it looks like it's just a 2-engine U-wing. I could be wrong, or it could be some other new kind of ship.
The engine itself is actually kind of interesting because it kind of is slightly off and towards the lower bit. So
it kind of looks like the Ghost.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, except it has those two little blue engines towards the back that almost look like they were just kind of bolted on.
Or did they finally get rid of that crappy Phantom 2 and this is the Phantom 3, maybe?
Maybe. You could hope.
Could be.
I hope so.
Have a new hope.
I really not a big fan of the new. funny guy. All right, so next shot is another shot of the spherical. What I'm assuming is the same thing as the spherical.
So do you think that's actually like something like a proton missile, or did it just kamikaze the whole thing?
It could either be a kamikaze, or it could be some sort of proton torpedo. Or something along those lines.
Or is it like a Force Ghost busting out?
I don't know about
that. I don't think we'll see that in Star Wars yet. I'm not against it.
Maybe it's a squale.
Yes.
Squales.
Came out of hyperspace and hit the damn thing.
Well, I mean, if they travel through hyperspace, it has to happen. It's just inevitable.
I'm gonna miss.
They're giants.
I'm gonna miss squale conversations with you guys after this season. I'm sure it'll go on to other podcasts.
Oh no!
Yeah,
we'll be talking in episode 8 about. It's weird we never saw any squales in this, isn't it?
Squales did not appear in this episode. So yeah, it looks like maybe a construction. It's got some arms coming off the bottom of it.
You know what
Quite
else
a few.
it kind of looks like?
What?
Almost like the command center of one of the Star Destroyers. I mean, I wonder with the arms connecting. I wonder if it's part of a bigger ship.
Oh,
and like it just hasn't been attached, sort of thing.
Well,
yeah.
We can't see it. Is what he's trying to say.
Yeah, like maybe the bottom half of the ship is below that, and once it gets to a certain spot, it can shoot out that sphere or whatever. That's what the arms are for, to connect it to that ship, and it can hover out there.
Maybe it could be firing a weapon. The fact that it's blue and that the engines were blue on the last shot we saw, it could be a kamikaze, or it could be a ship trying to go into light speed outside of the hangar, kind of like Han did out of that ship in Force Awakens. Maybe. Okay. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Okay, so Agent Callus is back. General, maybe a rebel general or captain now, maybe in the intelligence.
General Mutton Chops.
I think that's how we'll have to refer to him in the entire season.
Yeah,
just General Mutton Chops.
General Mutton Chops.
Yeah, but he's got the longer hair. Definitely looks like a rebel general to me. Now
that must be the way to wear your hair on Yavin 4.
Yavin 4. Yeah.
It's the in style.
Mm-hmm. And you say that, Brian, maybe he is actually in Rogue One and we didn't even realize it.
Well, you can rewatch it, just see if he's in the background.
I'm going to have to go back and rewind.
Looks like Callus.
I bet that's Callus right there.
Yeah. It's definitely a possibility.
So yeah, again,
do you think it's funny if Callus is just so in the background, he's just such a minor character and you just know it never.
Well, I mean, if he's just like a lieutenant or a captain, I mean, he's not a general or anything high. I mean, to the rebels, it might be important to that show, but in the bigger, grander scheme of the rebellion, maybe not. But
good to see him near a Zeb-like character.
Or if he's in charge of intelligence, then maybe he's meant to stay in the background.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, let's move on. Okay, next scene. It looks like another scene of Ezra wearing his Mando jetpack.
Yeah, possibly in some ship or some sort of base of some type with the door hangers.
I'd say some sort of Imperial facility. You can tell by the lights in the background. Definitely the Walker and the TIE fighters give it away. Looks like a bunch of other Mandalorians with him.
Yeah, I mean, it could be either something like the Imperial troops lend to the Mandalorians they support, or Mandalorians helping them attack the Empire itself.
Right, because the Empire's backing Clan Saxon. We know that, so it's very possible. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like maybe even a carrier that's taking that that equipment to maybe whatever base whatever planet we're gonna see the war on this time.
Yeah.
Maybe they were taking all that equipment to that place, and the Mandos kind of just
bust their way in
while it's in space before they can get anything out.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that. But it does look like they're fighting it. It looks like there's some kind of fire coming from the Walker.
Yeah, definitely, and they're definitely shooting back.
Yep.
At the Walker. I like how it looks like Ezra's got his lightsaber in hand, and he's just kind of taking it all in for a second, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, at least a millisecond or so, enough for the shot,
enough for the screenshot.
But I'm sure Brian, you'll agree, it's cool to see maybe except for the helmet, you've got Mando meets Jedi.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the only thing that was missing from Boba Fett.
Yeah,
is the lightsaber.
Lightsaber. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, next up we've got looks like we got a Death Trooper running at us in a circular hallway. I would say maybe a Rebel ship, just from the design. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's definitely possible. I mean, it could also just be like a base as well, but so it could go either way.
Yeah,
but
some kind of tunnel.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Death Troopers back and being kind of integrated.
Oh yeah, it's great that they're they keep crossing over with Rogue One more and more.
It'd be interesting whether they actually show what makes the Death Troopers kind of elite troopers, because you never really see that in Rogue One. Not really.
True. In fact, I would like to see them spin one of these characters off. Maybe get to see him take off his helmet, and he's just an elite commando stormtrooper that works for the Empire. Maybe even this, I don't know, almost a bounty hunter kind of esque. I don't know. That'd be kind of
like sweet. By the time you get to episode 8, there's like a Death Trooper that just survived and went full bounty hunter.
Yeah, went full bounty hunter, and it still wears some of the armor and stuff. Be kind of cool. All right, so let's move on to the next scene here. So Thrawn, what appears he's shooting at a TIE Defender trying to take off because he's got his gun raised. It's all kind of blurred because it's the action sequence, but maybe the rebels have commandeered themselves a TIE Defender.
It does kind of suggest it since he's shooting at it,
right? Or looking up at it. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, he's either you can't really tell if he's shooting at it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He may just be like seeing the TIE Fighter come from behind him, and he's turning around real fast to see it.
Could be.
But the TIE Fighter is definitely moving
away
towards him. To go over top of him to do a flyby. And I can't really tell what's in the background, if that's a base or if that's a city.
It's kind of hard to tell.
It looks like the mountains of Lothal to me. Just like those, those like.
You think it's a mountain?
Yeah, I do. I actually think those are like, like how we saw the Jedi Temple in that mountain.
Yeah,
that's.
It looks to me more like a building with the lights on the side there. If you go down the side,
it could be. To me, it looks like striping though.
No. Over here on the side, on the right.
Over here, yeah. Over here,
and it looks like it's part of like domes, part of the building.
Oh, okay. That over here could be. To me, this looks like a straight up Lothal mountain in the middle behind him. But I don't know. It's possible, but it's definitely like the outer base and stuff, like this wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like remember when we commented about Sabine when we first saw her do all that jumping when she was blowing up TIE fighters and all that for diversion. It kind of looks similar to me.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure. I'd say 95% chance that's Lothal that it's on. Anyway.
Fair enough.
So let's move on. Next scene here, real quick. Finally, it's back. We haven't seen it on Rebels yet, but it looks like we're finally getting some X-wing fighters. Finally. Definitely one of the most iconic ships in Star Wars. Brian, I think I've heard you say that it's maybe the second most iconic.
Oh yeah, I mean because you got the Millennium Falcon, which is Han's ship,
right,
and then the X-wing, which is Luke's ship.
Yeah,
that's the way it was packaged to us as kids.
Mm-hmm.
When you got the toy, it came with R2-D2 and Luke
Skywalker. Yeah,
and when you got the Millennium Falcon, it came with Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah,
you didn't see all the other characters that were with Millennium Falcon, and with Force Awakens, Rey drives the Falcon, but the X-wing was definitely Luke's ship, and it was probably one of the most iconic. It was able to go. What we felt, when I was a kid, I felt it went faster than the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
just because of how small it was and was able to maneuver
and
trying to carry that big toy that you had to have two hands on and move that Falcon.
Yeah, that's true. And I think if we look close, it almost looks like there's green on these X-wings now.
Maybe a green squadron?
Green squadron, maybe. Now we've seen in Rogue One, we had Red Squadron, obviously. We had Gold Squadron, which was the Y-wings. And then there was the Blue Squadron that died on Scarif. So is this maybe a third squadron? Fourth squadron. Yeah, sorry. that we just didn't know about.
They're just squadrons that complete the color palette.
Well, yeah,
Unicorn Squadron, go!
Well, I mean, later on it's not canon anymore, but you had Rogue Squadron later on, which is a bunch of X-wings, too. But that's no longer canon. But
they have Phoenix Squadron. And
right. You had Iron Squadron.
This is Weed Squadron. It's green. You put your weed in there.
We're Echo Squadron. Oh, there we go. Echo Squadron.
Echo Squadron.
Okay, so to go along with that, next shot is Hera in full X-wing gear. Except it's the helmet's slightly different because she's a Twi'lek, but still it looks like her in X-wing gear. She's wearing red though, so maybe this is Red Squadron, not a Green Squadron.
And it definitely looks like a solo ship sort of thing. Like it's nothing.
Oh yeah.
Like the
like the Ghost.
Oh yeah, she's definitely in a like single cockpit.
Yeah, a single man fighter. I like her top. I like how she's got like looks like two TIE fighters with the
like a little cross between.
Yeah, like a line through them on the top of her helmet. That's kind of cool.
It's like kind of like the smoking symbol, just TIE fighters instead.
Yeah, in fact, Aaron, I think you even said at one time at some point that we finally maybe we'll get to see her piloting skills again. You think?
Oh yeah, I mean we really didn't see that much at all in the last season, but it's already hinted at her being, a very well-respected pilot. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see that component come back.
It will be nice to see her do some serious damage in an X-wing. That'd be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see Ezra in an X-wing too, honestly, but just because he parallels Luke so closely in everything he does.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd still be nice to see him play out some more of the Jedi roles and have like some of those components as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, so far we've only seen him in a fighter once, which was that Y-wing last season in season 3. So, it'd be cool, really cool to see him in the X-wing.
Yeah.
Okay, so next shot, Bo-Katan she's got the Darksaber, and she's got it up high, and it's like she's claiming her throne almost.
Yeah, kind of rallying her troops and proving her worth, sort of thing.
Yeah, everybody's bowing around her. So I mean, it's obvious that they've selected her to be the new heir to unite all the Mandos.
Yeah,
you have Sabine and her mom right behind her, like saying we back her up.
Yep.
Or we show the unity.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because you don't hear about this Mando Civil War in Rogue One. You don't hear about it in the classic trilogy at all.
Yeah.
In 4, 5, or 6. So I'm really interested to see how this plays out. Not to say that it couldn't be happening at the same time, but then it would make sense how if it was happening at the same time, because the Empire suddenly has to fight a war on 2 fronts. You've got to deal with these rebels, but you also have to deal with the Mando Civil War.
Like it's something that actually is playing out through the first trilogy and just a background story.
And maybe that's how the rebels survive the full onslaught of the Empire, because the Empire is,
so it's kind of like
busy.
It kind of works out the same way the Roman Empire fell, with just fighting so many smaller wars.
Yeah,
and just divided itself.
Too many fronts.
Yeah. Actually, I would kind of like that, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
I think that'd be kind of an interesting kind of parallel to it. And don't get me wrong, does it change like how the rebel is viewed? Like,
no,
probably a little.
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah,
I don't know,
because you wouldn't.
It's not the rebels single-handedly bringing down the entire empire.
Correct.
It's the empire's own infrastructure failing and then having to deal with so many fronts.
Yep.
It definitely changes the perception of it, but it's actually kind of an interesting variant to the story.
I like the idea, because don't get me wrong, you got the underdog, and you've got Luke and the the evolution of the Jedi, him becoming a Jedi and taking down the Sith and through Vader, and that's all still cool, and it's all still very relevant. But to me, to have another war going on off to the side,
no,
I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, I'm not sure if Disney really wants to get into the political commentary, but if you look at historically, it really is the inefficiencies of empires as they grow larger than they can control that really brings them down. You saw that with Roman Empire. To a lot of extent, you saw that with the USSR as well, with the Soviet Union.
Yeah. It would be pretty cool to see. I wouldn't have a problem with this whole Mando thing going on the whole time.
And I mean, that would explain why Boba Fett is... Well, I technically isn't Mandalorian.
He's not Mando, but yeah.
But that's why you don't see those characters play off throughout most of the original trilogy.
Why we don't see so many Mandos, because they're too damn busy.
Yeah, because they have their own war front going on.
Yeah.
Plus, if you want to do a side films about the Mandalorians war against the Empire, you could also have that being a parallel thing to the original trilogy.
I would really like I said, I would love for this to be the spin-off series, the next series. Or maybe they're going to do 2 animated series. Who knows? This could be one of them. I would love that. But I don't know if we're going to get it or not. But it's just a hope on my part at this point. But yeah, so it looks like Bo-Katan, obviously her sister was the Duchess of Mandalore. So, obviously her sister, maybe
there is some bloodline connection to authority.
And then you put that with the Darksaber, backed up by, Sabine's, the Ren clan, so to speak. Gives them a little bit more clout. So, all right, let's move on. Next scene.
I think that actually is the last scene of the trailer, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I think you're right, Aaron. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So, let's just we've really dissected the heck out of this thing. We're almost up to an hour. So let's just get into final thoughts and grades. All right. Aaron, your final thought and grade on this trailer?
I'd probably give it something like a B. It was a fine trailer for like kind of a teaser. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of that through. A lot of the trailers going to play out past the mid-season, but I think Brian mentioned that earlier. But we definitely saw that with last season's trailers, where we really saw most of it within the first couple episodes.
The first half.
Yeah. And it was okay. Like, it's nothing overwhelmingly exciting, but it's interesting, and it seems like it's carrying on the story. So it interesting where it goes.
Yeah, to me, it didn't give me the goosebumps, and every other trailer I've seen for Rebels gives me that goosebumps or that holy crap moment, and this one doesn't really have that. The other big question is, where's Ahsoka? Give me 2 seconds of Ahsoka. I don't care. I think for season 4 to be successful, they need to create a dark side presence, and then Ahsoka needs to be the answer to that dark side presence. You wouldn't be happy if they just find her corpse somewhere. No, that would just be really, really morbid and God, yeah, no, thank you. Okay. To me, I give it a solid B. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, B minus, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Like you said, it didn't give me the goosebumps that the other trailers have given us.
Mm-hmm.
It was a teaser trailer, so it's not really the trailer for 4.
Right.
But like you said, I needed something else in there. Maybe more lightsabers.
Yeah.
Maybe Vader.
Yeah.
Ahsoka. Something that would just. Oh yes! I can't wait for next season.
Yeah.
This didn't really give me any of that. It gave me more like a lead into Rogue One than it did to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It felt more like Rebels,
which
I said in our finale. I said it looks like this is going to be they're getting more into Rebels, more away from Jedi and stuff, and focusing more on the Rebels as a group.
Yeah.
And that's what this feels like it's going to be still.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's going to be an interesting season, though, with 16 episodes with one arc.
Right.
So I can't wait for that, but
one big story.
I'm just not hyped up for it yet.
I hear you. I'm hoping we get something as we get closer to the fall. Maybe we get a few more smaller trailers with a little bit more of that, or at least they reveal a dark side presence. I think you can bring all the Rebels together, but you gotta have the Force in there somewhere. At least we had the Bendu this season, and we had Maul, and we had Kenobi. That has to be in there somewhere. There has to be that parallel storyline, for me anyway. All right, so where can you find 4 Midwest Guys? It's real easy. Just go to www. Did I say 4 W's? Make that 3 W's. www.
You said www.
Okay. All right. So 3 W's. The number 4 MidwestGuys.com. Again, that's the number 4 MidwestGuys.com. One more time, number 4 MidwestGuys.com. There you can find links to our Twitter feed, to our YouTube, to our Podbean, especially to our help me out.
Twitter,
iTunes. That's the one. So it's all there. You can follow us there, and also all of our podcasts are there. And if you'd like just our Star Wars Rebels podcast, you just click up the top, the category. Everything's categorized, and it'll give you all of our Star Wars Rebels in chronological order. If you'd like our podcast we do on Game of Thrones, you click the Game of Thrones link. Our entire season 10 review is there. If you like a Marvel DC Kings, you click Marvel DC Kings. You get the idea. On and on and on. It's all one-stop shop, the number 4 MidwestGuys.com. All right, Mr. Ankerbauer, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And Aaron, thanks for joining us.
Yep, no problem.
And this is B. Willie saying, may the Force be with you always.